Hello and welcome. In this series of learning Python, I will be showing you in this second video in this series how to create your first program with Python. So after you install Python, now it's time to create your first program, and you can use two ways or two methods. You can still use a command line terminal, or you can use directly a text editor or an IDE that is like Sublim or VS Code or another one to execute your code and to see the results. So first, for those who need to install Python in Linux, I didn't mention that in the first video of this tutorial, but it's very straightforward and it's easy. You can just Google that and you will find the terminal commands that you can execute in order to do that. Okay, so now let's talk about how we can execute and write our code. So from Python, it's very simple and easy to execute your program. You can just open a CMD or a command prompt in Windows or terminal in Linux, and you can just come in here, and after you know that you install Python correctly, you can test that using this command python -- version, and you will see that you have installed I have installed Python 3.10.1. okay. So in order to open a Python shell, you can just type Python in Windows. But in Linux, you need to type Python 3. Okay, Python and 3 with no space. Here you can see that you have another interface here, another command line interface that says Python, which means that you are now using Python interpreter directly. Okay, so let's type some Python code. The most common one, first program that everybody writes is hello world. So now you just type in one single line and you say print this string or this phrase. If you hit enter, you will see that the computer displays this message here, and this is what we call it in the first program, because now you told the computer to do this command or to do this order. Okay, so the second way to do this, or to create and write Python code, is by using a text editor, so that you can write a lot of lines, then you can execute them at once. And this is the best way to do this, to write code, because you can modify, you can fix errors, and you can even save your work in a file. But with the command prompt, you cannot do that. So whenever you close this window, everything is gone. So you need to start from the beginning. That's why this way it's still useful, but in some cases, when you want to just test, for example, some code, if you want to know, for example, some result, you can do like this, and you will know the result directly. But it's not recommended for writing programs and writing a lot of code. Okay. Now let's first you need to create a Python file. So in order to do that, you just need to open any text editor, not necessarily need to be Sublim or VS Code, but those are more advanced tools that helps you and ease life when doing this. So now what we need to do is to come here and say we need to save this file and to create a Python file. In order to do that, you just need to click on Ctrl+Shift+S in your keyboard. Now I have already done that. I would just go and delete this file. Now let's save the file with a new name. I will name it first program.py. Now we have a Python file with this extension, and this is the most important step that you need to do, is to give the file this extension .py. Okay, so now the file, it's not still it's a Python script. Okay, we need to save the file. Now we have a Python file that we can type and write code on it. Now let's create our first, or our easy and simple program, which is just printing a sentence to the screen: hello world. And this is our program. It's just one single line. Now we need to execute this code. So there is two ways, actually, two methods. You can just execute this program in this tool, in Sublim or VS Code or any other text editor or IDE that supports this functionality. So in Sublim, you just need to click on Ctrl and B. Now you see the file is executed and the result, it's shown in here. Okay, and this is a very interesting thing about Sublim, which is a very flexible and easy to use text editor when it comes to executing code. The second way is to open a command prompt. I will just click on Windows key on my Windows and then type cmd. Now we have a terminal or a command prompt. First, you need to go to where the file is located, because what you are doing here is you just specify what program that will execute this type of file. So in our case, it's Python interpreter, and in Windows we just type Python, then followed by the file name or the script name. First is to go to where the file is located. It's on desktop, then Python course. Now we are on the directory where the file is located. I just need to type Python, then followed by the file name. In our case, it's first program.py. Now click enter. You will see that the program is executed successfully. So for those who are using Linux and want to know how to do this with Linux, there is something special about Linux, which is you need to first give the permissions to the file to be executed, then to add a line, a single line in your code. Now we are talking about Linux. Okay, that's first line is called shebang line, which means that you tell the Linux system that this file is in type of Python file, and now you just tell him that please execute this file with Python interpreter. And this command, I believe it's this one, user bin env, which means environment, then you just type Python 3 or Python 2 if you have not installed Python 3. By the way, in most of all the Linux distributions, Python comes pre-installed with the system, and you just need to update it. If it's not installed in your Linux machine, you just need to install it by the terminal, which is pretty straightforward and pretty easy to do. Okay, so for this video, or in this series, this is what we talked about: how to create your program, how to execute it. In the next video, I will be talking about Python syntax. So see you soon.